Welcome to the Nonsense in the Chaos. I'm your host, Jolie Rose. So I'm in my new house. It's a bit echoey, so you might notice the sound quality is a bit echoey. I am going to be adding some soundproofing panels onto the walls, and I need to put curtains up. So I'm sorry if there is a bit of an echo with this recording, but I had a really wonderful time interviewing today's guest, Elaine, who is a friend of mine who I met through people kind of connecting us. I think my friend Joni in Brighton might have connected us, or it might have just been through social media, but we met properly when she came to my immersion weekend for Ostara, and it was really wonderful to get to know Elaine. And she's very passionate about the menopause, and it's something that she has explored and wants to talk about and connect with women who are interested in talking about this subject. And it's something that's very present for me right now. I'm definitely in the throes of the kind of journey, but like I spent years thinking, oh, maybe I'm perimenopause, or this might be the perimenopause, and now I'm 100% certain about it. There is no question anymore, which is good. It's nice to have that confirmation and like clarity that it is, but it hasn't, still unpicking and finding my way through it. So I was really looking forward to having this conversation with Elaine today. And if any of you are women in a similar situation, which you probably are, women going through it of the same sort of age, I know a lot of you wonderful ladies that are listening are the same sort of age as me, that you'll be going through the same experiences that I am. And if you're not, and you're younger, and or if you're male or don't have a womb, it's still an interesting conversation, because so much of it's what I've said before with other interviews. I think that it's really useful for us to hear other humans' experiences. We're all parallel universes living alongside one another, but also how these things get affected by and caught up in the bigger picture and what's happening in the world. Because I think we're all being blasted and pushed around and just trapped and manipulated by the things that are going on in the world. And we're all carrying our own crosses, and we're all doing our very best, and we're all making our way through it all whatever way we can. And I think that it's good for us to hear how other people are meeting it, experiencing it, fighting it, being defeated by it, failing. It's one of the things that we talk about today. So I think there's something in here for everyone, even if it's not where you're at in your life, or it's not something that you'll ever experience. I still think it's important for us to listen to and understand other people's life experiences. And this one is about the experience of the menopause for women who are going through that. So thank you so much for being here, and I hope you enjoy the show. Excellent. Welcome, Elaine.
Cool.
Yay.
Thank you.
So how do I say your surname?
Le Feuvre.
Le Feuvre. Elaine Le
Or Le
Feuvre.
Feuvre, or, to be honest, I answer to all of the things.
I'm still just having moved over here, and I'm dreadful with languages, and I'm dreadful with names. And so learning all of the French names and the French pronunciations, I've just been like absolutely rubbish. I'm just like, ow, this is even harder.
It's a challenge. My maiden name was Carapel with a Q.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of my friends don't live on the island, and they were like, "Yay, are you taking your husband's name?" And I was like, "Yeah, Le Feuvre."
Just
What?
as difficult. Oh, and so, you're a Guernsey girl, right?
I never really quite know how to answer this question, because I was born in Dorset. I grew up in Guernsey. So my dad is from Guernsey, my mum is from the UK. I lived in South Africa for a while, in Nottingham, in Worcester, and then back to Guernsey. So
Wow.
a little bit of my heart is in lots of places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So how come you're in South
Yeah.
Africa? Is that with your family's work?
So one of my older brothers lives out in Cape Town. He's lived there for about 35 years. So my parents went sold up in Guernsey, went to go live out there, and I went with them. We've got the same travelling,
Oh, great.
exciting genes in the blood.
Excellent. Oh, that's cool though. I love it when you travel with
Yeah,
family. It's nice that your
yeah,
families get on that well, that you're happy to do that. That's
yeah.
great.
It was really special. Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
That's
And
cool.
so we're going to be talking about menopause today. What's been your
Yes.
journey to that being a subject that you like talking about, and and what's brought you into
Um,
this world?
that is a very good question. I think so. My own experience, which is for a lot of people, is what draws you in is through challenging hormones, experiences, and a lot of things that I didn't know about my cycle until I started menstrual cycle awareness and then went into perimenopause myself. So I'm very perimenopause powered, I call it. And I really want to promote how good it is or how good it can be. But I'm more than aware in my own journey as well. It was really challenging, and I really, yeah, I really want to connect other people to hear about other people's experiences and how we can support each other through the feminine collective, really.
That's beautiful. Love that.
Yeah.
Excellent. And so, where are you at in your menopause journey?
So I'm feeling like I am quite far along. So I'm 45 now, and it's not based on age, as we know, you can go through this at any point. And those that you know that those first couple of, I'd say, years, to be honest, were really challenging, and I've now got to a place where I feel so the spiritual aspect of menopause is the most important thing to me, or the most vital part of the jigsaw. But one of the things that I really want to share is, as a clinical aromatherapist, as a cacao and nature lover, and I wish I hadn't spent so long trying to heal myself with nature and natural things, and ignore a big piece of the jigsaw that really helped me, that really continues to help me, which is HRT. And yeah, there's still a lot of misinformation. There's still a lot of things to uncover, but really, the what I really support is everything outside the doctor's remit, and that is true holistic health, working alongside healthcare professionals and other professionals, knowing the limits of things and of my abilities to be able to refer when appropriate, and really encourage people to just start a conversation, go see your doctor, have that conversation. Doesn't mean that you've got to go on it, doesn't mean that you can pick it up and take it home and not take it. Yeah, there's still a lot of fear around it, and I really want to yeah, help people break down that fear and really get the support they need, because I know how impacting it is. It has impacting on people's relationships, on people's careers, on all kinds of things, and it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, it kind of snuck up on me. It was interesting because I sort of suspected that I was probably perimenopausal, because I was definitely finding things harder and even more chaotic than I like definitely harder was the word, I suppose. And that's
Yeah.
probably been going on for a while. But it was the last pilgrimage that I did just
Oh, okay.
completely sent me over the edge, because
Yeah.
it was a grueling journey for a variety of reasons. And when I got back, I just didn't bounce back, and my
Yeah.
body was absolutely exhausted. And I could tell something wasn't right. And
Yeah.
so I went to the doctor, and that's when he did all the tests, and my hormones were completely normal, apparently. But
Yeah.
my my thyroid in my brain was underactive. And so
Okay.
he put me on the medication for that. But thankfully, my periods then did start going weird. So I started
Okay.
bleeding when I ovulated. And then that was almost becoming, I was pretty much bleeding nearly all month, but just with like the odd
Yeah.
period of like moment window of not bleeding, but pretty much bled when I ovulated, bled when I bled. And then I was just like, look, okay, things are definitely coming off the rails.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care whether the hormones are saying they're normal. Something's not normal. And he was like, yeah, I mean, okay, you're 47, you probably have. But also at that point, I'd spoke to someone who has ADHD. I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but absolutely certain I have it. And apparently the thyroid, overactive and underactive thyroids, are a symptom of women who've got ADHD going through the perimenopause and through the menopause. It's something that often will happen. Also, people just have it generally anyway, and it's not something you would necessarily have gone and got tested for. So it's only when you do like the MOT bloods that you might pick it up. But apparently it is linked to ADHD in women going through the menopause. So that medication's really helped because it gave me loads more energy. But also I could still feel that something was not right. And then luckily, because my periods then started being weird, he then gave me the HRT, which I'm doing in tablet form, taking in tablet form. And it has completely put me back. I just feel back in the driving seat again. I feel steady, on steady ground again.
Yeah.
Because it's also ethereal. And I'm used to ethereal because I did IVF. And so I overstimulated, I hyperstimulated on the medication, and I didn't end up having a child. So I basically OD'd on estrogen. So I know what it feels like in a way that's a bit clearer, I think, than, because when you're on your period cycle, every month you just get tripped up by it. Oh, I wasn't being mad. That was my period. But it's only when you start bleeding that you notice it. But because I'd gone through all of that with IVF, I think I was a bit more tuned into, no, something's not right. This isn't me. This is the hormones.
What I'm hearing is that you're saying when you went to the doctor, something was already, something is off. And trusting that gut instinct, we really do. We know what helps us. We know what heals us, is starting that process and continuing to hear and know. How's that feeling for you? That is the big red rule of the red tent basically is, and this is something that when I worked through the Red School, so it's a menstrual and menopause leadership program, and so it was I learned that in there, and it is about your truth is your truth, and there is nobody, including me, including your doctor, including anybody else, that tells you that your lived experience is different or not right, and that's what really again connects me with like holistics and like you know yourself what the runes mean to you, or you're doing these really big actions of these pilgrimages for peace and those things, and it does take a physical effect on your body, but also on your spirituality, on your heart, on you feel so passionately to keep doing things and putting it out there, and it's fucking awesome. It's great. You're taking action. You're not just standing back and going, oh yeah, that's happening and I'm not happy about it. It is those things, but also knowing when to step back as well and be like, you've done a lot of things. Do you need to do more? Is this a time of subtracting instead of adding?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm definitely feeling that at the moment, and that's one of the things that's coming through generally. But it's really difficult because it's like I really enjoy all of the things.
Yes, I know.
I don't want to have to stop doing them, and like, you know, having ideas for other things, you know, like decorating the house and all the things that I want to do here, and growing food, and you know, that's adding things. But I definitely feel like I haven't got that choice. Like I have to subtract. Yeah. I just want a million lives, annoyingly.
I'm really pleased that you've said that, because that is exactly. I was like, I'm very proud. I'm quite an assertive woman. I love that about myself. I see where that comes from in my family line. But it's hard to say. It's easier to say no to stuff I don't want to do. But there's a million things and a load of people that I want to spend time with, and also that's another thing that comes up quite a lot, is about solitude and our need for peace and quiet in our own mind, to let the dust settle, to let things just be in your body, do whatever you need to do, the movements, to come back into your body and be like, oh, that actually hurts. I didn't realise that was hurting, because I was just moving through the motions of the things, the to-do list, and taking action, as well as for myself, like working with the moon cycle. It is really important. I'm in this place as well where I was very regular before. Now, who knows? And I'm finding that really difficult because I like to know where the ground is.
Yeah,
I like to
totally.
have some stability and
Yeah, because that hasn't
communication.
happened to me yet. I haven't. It's still regular. I'm still regular as clockwork, but it was just that I was bleeding the whole time. But that's now stopped with the HRT. But still, like normally I'd bleed for 2 days, and then this is my first cycle where I've been kind of normal again. But it's like day 4 and I'm still bleeding, so I'm obviously just bleeding a bit longer. But I wasn't bleeding mid-month, which was
Is this
happening before.
you've been on it for a while, or?
No, no, just 2 months. So this is the second
Okay, so
month.
it's still
Yeah,
sort of doing its
it's still
thing.
settling in.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I can definitely tell the difference now, I think. And also it made my stomach, because the thyroid medication should have made my metabolism speed up, because my body's suddenly gone very middle-aged. I've just sort of gone into a middle-aged dumpy shape, which I can't. And I wasn't losing weight through the usual, as long as I eat the right things, normally I'll start thinning down again, and that wasn't happening. But then I took the thyroid medication, and that was meant to be something that speeds your metabolism up. Like, that should have made me lose weight, but it didn't. And then I looked at the reasons why that might happen, and it was because of the menopause, and I was like, well, I that's because I'm going through the menopause. And so I then, yeah, it's now starting to, I've noticed the last couple of days, like my stomach started to go down again, but I'm on the tablets as well, so I'm not 100% certain if I might be reacting to them, because I am intolerant to wheat and dairy and quite a few foods, so I might be intolerant to the
Yeah.
tablets, and I might need to try the gel. But I like I kind of like the tablets, because I know where I'm at with that. I know when I'm taking them,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I would be allergic to the patches because I'm allergic to plasters, so I don't think I could use patches. But there's the
Yeah.
gel, so I think if they don't work tablet form, then I'll try the gel if it's still
Yeah,
making me cough up.
I think that is the really important thing to share as well, that you don't go onto it and then you just stay there and that's it. That's also moving as well, that, and a lot of people do have other conditions or underlying things that often come out when we actually go to the doctors
Yeah.
and share about something, and then they're like, actually, that would have perhaps been picked up had you have been a man.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, it is still the tiny islands that we live in that often don't have quite that specialist that we can. But I know also, I really appreciate there's other positives, that I've had the same doctor, I go and see the same person, and that is, I'm so grateful for that. I know that is not a lot of people's experience in the UK and outside
Yeah.
of our islands. And if it's
Yeah.
not if it's I do know if it's something that, if it is a urgent thing, you see who you can see. But really speaking to actually somebody with some real lived experience, and
Yeah, would be nice.
yeah, it's really important, and I'm really excited for that as well. There's so much in the pipeline that's coming through, and just becoming more awareness and more talked about. A lot of my friends are from South Africa, and I know they've said, when they've moved over here, and they're like, cool, where's my gynecologist? And they're like, what? It's a regular routine preventative care that is,
Bit
yeah,
behind.
we're not there yet with that, but it is about sharing those experiences, isn't it, and being like, it's
Yeah.
been really helpful to talk to the women around you, ask their experience, ask what's happening, how things have happened for them. And
So what were the
yeah,
things that came up for you? What were the clues that you started to think, this is the menopause, this is the perimenopause?
I had my own business doing my aromatherapy or my holistic treatments, and as like, you're doing all of the things. You're the you're marketeering, you're doing the advertising, you're doing the actual treatments, you're front of house, you're doing the payments and all the rest of it. And I started actually getting palpitations, panic attacks, something I know I hadn't experienced before, and I immediately went to like medical thing, like there must be something wrong with my heart, like what's happening. But I didn't know to share this with anybody. My previous role before that was, I was working at the prison. I was a prison officer for a decade here. A lot of my friends were men, and it wasn't embarrassment, because everything is talked about in those environments. It has to be. It was just, the thought didn't occur to me to and that seems weird now. But yeah, I was kept it to myself and was, oh, maybe something will work through. But I recognize now I wasn't sharing with anybody else, that I was actually really struggling. And no wonder I send so much love back to that version of me that I just couldn't ask for help. I think it was programmed before the prison in society to be very self-sufficient and not need anybody else. And yeah, I'm going to be, and then reinforced, I think, through that kind of role where, yeah, you haven't got loads of technology or anything like that, which is why now I'm so excited by technology. Use the tools that can help you. This is really definitely cool.
I was gutted. My mum's absolutely gutted that they didn't know about all of this in HRT before.
Yeah.
You know, she's looking at whether she could still get it now and whether it's worth her doing it still. But she feels like she missed out, and she wants our generation to be on it, and just to not necessarily, you know, it's not like you have to be on HRT, but it has made such a difference, and to not have those fears that were old, you know, bad, what's the word, results, and, you know, it wasn't true. The links that they made to breast cancer were not accurate, and so it's important for us to kind of get the message out there.
You heard of Louise Newson?
No, I don't know.
She's a menopause doctor, and she's doing some tours across the UK, which I'm hoping to go to with let me reword that. I am going to with my sister. And again, it's sort of like, it's really important that we don't take everything of just that one person's view. But I really like what she shares. She's a professional in her field, and she was recently sharing about this of there is worth going to speak to your doctor. It is worth going to follow these things up, because as we have just discussed, and looping right back to where we started, of this is often a place where in women's health where they can pick up it actually might be something else.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's so many, that's the biggest thing I want to share. There's so many things just, you know, across the board. And certainly I'm really cautious when I say this, because yoga, meditation, making some healthy nutritional food choices have been amazing. I'll tell you this right now, I could not have got anywhere fucking near any of these things until I'd got out of survival mode.
Yeah,
and that is
totally.
what we're seeing across the board. If you're in survival mode, 1% increase into health and focusing entirely on the medical thing. Do that, or whatever's feeling the most, then tap into another bit of the spiritual path of what's going forward, and the next bit and the next bit. And that's how I really see my role as well, is that, good God, I do not need to, with other people, it's about slowing them down. Nobody needs, in menopause, no one needs speeding up.
Yeah.
It is literally about, whoa, hold on. Don't add more things to your buckaroo. And that's what, visualize it as that. It is the menopause buckaroo. And we've all got a lot of things at this stage of life as well. It is really challenging career-wise for most women plus 40. This is the height of our career. This is the height when we really, things kick off. Plus 40 is proven to be the most confident, the most area. And and I get it, if you're in the middle of that, you're like, what the fuck? That's not how I feel. But it does get to that place. And part of that is surrounding ourselves, choosing to be more careful of who we surround ourselves with. And it's also been really special for me having the opportunity to come to Sark and come to your amazing retreat and just be around loads of women. It was perfect. It was really, really special.
I really needed that as well. It was perfect timing. It was just like, oh my God, everything's just gone crazy. Yeah, it felt like, because I've been doing yoga for years and I've been doing meditation. So I do yoga and meditate every morning. Haven't done pretty much since all the house, the last 2 months. But what's happened is this last 2 months is just when it feels like I've come off the rails. So that's, you know, I've definitely been perimenopausal for ages. I was having panic attacks 2 years ago. Didn't think it was the menopause, thought it was just things going on. I mean, I kind of did. It was definitely in the mix, but it wasn't as clear as this moment with the house and coming back from the pilgrimage and being so tired, and then trying to kind of get going again for spring, and just literally came off the rails, everything. And so I haven't done yoga, and I feel a state, you know. I'm just like, I went to a wedding at the weekend and I was like, I look like some mad old woman. Like, I don't look like me anymore. So I just need to like and it's exactly what you say. It's taking things gently. It's like, okay, gently, you will lose weight again. You will be able to feel like you look nice again. You will be able to do the yoga in the morning and the meditate, like one step at a time.
And,
Just moved
and
house,
all of these things
all
are
of the stuff.
so valid. You know, that is, our bodies really changed during this time. It's scientifically proven. The way our metabolism and our hormones and the way we store fat and the lower rate in which we burn it's a thing. And again, I am also getting used to the new me, and finding ways to. And I don't think it can be really a bit toxic, like toxic positivity. I just love that bit, and you're like, well,
but I want to also be fit and strong,
and that is it, and that's really fascinating. Actually, that word that you just used about being strong, because we actually move from our dominant hormone of estrogen, caring, nurturing, to testosterone being our dominant hormone, which this isn't a bad thing, but this is about strength. And I often wonder about in a spiritual aspect as well, of this is the real resilient part of our life, where we're like, come on, buckle up.
Yeah, it's going to be hard now. Which I'm actually really looking forward to, because I had a premonition that I lived to 114. It's 114, 2096 is when I die. I had a premonition. And so I'm not even halfway through my life at the moment. And so when I'm like feeling unfit and not strong, I'm like, right, we're not having this, because you've got a long way to go now. You've still got a lot to do. So, but I like the idea of like, I've loved having a cycle. I've absolutely loved it. And I love being a woman, and I love that whole experience. Even though I would say I was born trans, because I definitely thought I was male. Like, I was absolutely adamant I was male, and I was about 7 when I realised I wasn't. And I not only knew I was male, but I knew I'd been male before. So I've always known that I believe in past lives, because I know that this is not the first time I've been here. And I've definitely explored the fact that probably is also social, you know, like the gender roles that we're assigned as a woman just didn't suit me. And so part of it was that. But I definitely had a sense of being here before and being a man. So I had some sort of lived experience of it. So I took quite a long time to be okay with being female, and it wasn't really until I did the whole IVF journey so by the time I was 35 and I came out of the IVF journey, I was absolutely in awe of the female body and what we do and what we go through, and how amazing it is to have this life experience, because it is like playing life on a harder setting. It's like, oh, you're a white man and you managed to become president of America. Pat on the head. Well done. Now try doing it as a disabled black woman and let's see how well you do then. It's just like it's just that there's these intersections that are harder. They make the game harder. And being female and doing life with like 4 versions of yourself, like going through a cycle constantly, is like, what? I don't know what's going on. I don't know where I am. What am I? Oh, I'm doing this. Oh, now I'm a mother. Oh, no, I'm not a mother. Oh, now I'm going through the menopause. What the fuck's a perimenopause? Never even heard of it. What the fuck? Like, it's just like every step of the way. So to come out the other end of that, it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be quite nice to just be on this other setting. But I have really enjoyed the ride. I've enjoyed the journey of being female. It's been great.
And that I love that terminology as well. I think that's really fitting. And is it not a coincidence that it fits entirely with the spiritual journey as well? Like, it is literally an unraveling where you're like, huh? I've got this bit. Oh, I've got that. No, I don't. Oh, and then you realise you fucking haven't.
No, exactly. And that's why being female is so amazing, because you're so thrown around by. Yeah, it does mean that you're more aware that things aren't real and things aren't fixed, because you can be completely different one week to the next, and that's really fascinating. Right, we should definitely pull some cards. We're not going to get around to it.
I would like that.
Right, so If you enjoy this podcast, then please consider supporting me on Patreon, which is patreon.com/JolieRose. I'm having a very crazy time at the moment, and as you've been listening in the conversation that I've been having with Elaine, I probably do have too many things on my buckaroo, which is frustrating, but is also a part of this learning, and it's a good teacher, and I am going to listen. I promise I will. So what I would love is for this to be able to be a full-time job, and to be able to mean that I don't have to do things like work in a pub, which I actually really, really love doing. I love working in the pub. It's a great way to earn money, and I get to socialise, and that's nice. And I love all the people that I spend time with there. But it does take up 2 days of my week, and then my Friday evening, and then that makes me quite tired on the Saturday. You know, it impacts my week. And so I'm trying to do all the other things I do on the side. And it would be great if I was able to just concentrate on being an artist again, which is what I managed to do for 20 years. And now I've been here 5 years. This is mad. This was meant to just be a stopgap thing of me. In fact, I even only started working at the pub just to do him a favour. It wasn't even like, it was just, yeah, literally I was doing a favour. And then 5 years later, I'm like, oh God, I'm kind of stuck. And it is because things have changed in the world. The way the world is the way the world is right now. Money's tight, and we're all struggling to make ends meet. But I am definitely, I definitely feel like it would be good to get out of that time being taken up if I was able to be earning money just through being an artist, and being able to put the things out into the world that I do, and be able to concentrate on writing, and to be able to concentrate on my articles and my podcasts and that sort of thing. It would be ideal. It would be great. I definitely would go out a lot less. I'd be a lot more antisocial, but it would be probably a lot better for my nervous system. That's the word I was looking for. Yes, definitely doing too much. And yeah, it would be great if I was able to earn the living that I am currently just about scraping together through being an artist again, and not relying on other jobs to kind of keep me afloat. So I know that everyone's struggling at the moment. I really appreciate that you are all in difficult circumstances. So it's just, if you're able to, if it's something that if you're here every week and you really get something out of this podcast, then maybe you would be able to put something towards it. If not, then just tell people, word of mouth is as valuable. And just let all your friends know that you are listening to it and you're enjoying it. And thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you listening and being with me on this journey. It's been great. I love doing this podcast. It's so much fun, and I love talking to people and interviewing people and getting to know about other people's worlds. It's a deeply nourishing and delightful thing to be doing. So I appreciate you just being here as a listener, if nothing else. So thank you, and now on with the show. Right, so excellent. We'll see what the universe wants us to explore further. So if I slowly pull my finger along, it might not get exactly the one that you're looking at, but whichever one it lands on, or what I pull out, will say is the right one. So you tell me when to stop.
Keep going. Stop. This one, yeah.
Brilliant. Ooh, failure.
Oh,
so there you go. What does the feeling of failure? Excellent. Love that.
My husband and I went to a TEDx event because we're big fans. We went years ago, and the headline, the whole thing was all around failure and how important failure is to succeed.
Yeah.
And my experience of working at the prison as well. You're working with real people. It's messy. It's quite literally. And part of that is of being human, of being this beautiful experience that I went through to come out the other side, to be living in this reality now, civilian reality, where I can say, I don't know the answer to that.
Yes, totally.
I don't have enough. And I think this is what the world needs collectively. More people who are willing to say, I'm not qualified to answer that, or I don't have enough information or lived experience to answer that. It's okay to say that, and we make it okay for more people to be able to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I didn't hear that very often
Yeah.
in that environment. And
Yeah, totally.
I'm really enjoying working at a library now. And
That's a huge shift, isn't it?
yeah, and I predominantly work in a female environment now, and
Yeah.
I just keep coming back from work and then saying to my husband, it's just amazing. Everyone's so lovely. And we do this thing where we like communicate. And I thought that was just a thing that, and that my experience with my husband has also really changed over the dynamics over the last few years in a really positive way, but also we are mirrors, and to see some things has been difficult. But communication, oh my God, it's the answer to everything. And
Yeah, it really
a lot
is.
of the time.
Because actually, like, I work in a female environment, and it's not, I wouldn't say communication is so great in that environment. And it's one of the things it's one of the things that I've been really surprised about in the Channel Islands is that, and it might be more of a Sark thing, but I've definitely picked it up a bit in Guernsey, but it's a lot more misogynistic over here than it is in Brighton, especially. I mean, Brighton we're particularly right on, like it's very feminist. Brighton is extremely feminist.
Yeah.
And it was a wonderful thing to spend 20 years living in, kind of the cutting edge of feminism, really. But yeah, it's interesting to be somewhere where women are quite, like, what's the word? Like, threatened by each other and will happily stab each other in the back and slut shame.
Yeah,
it's something I hear all the time in the pub, and it really makes my skin crawl. It's a real...
Yeah,
it's
I
sad.
must apologise there. Actually, I was saying my experience where I currently work is really communicative. But I agree, and you can also, and this is also, you need to be really careful about where. You're right. Both my husband and I left the island and moved back, and it was something you're super aware of when you've lived somewhere else.
Elsewhere,
And Cape Town was like the gay capital. Was amazing to like just see different people with different ideas and different ways of living. And then it was something I noticed moving back, and then because I was in that prison bubble, I couldn't see it. And then 7 years out, I'm like, oh my God. And it's a really ugly thing. And I have to see it in myself as well. And some of the things that I said and the ways in which I thought when I didn't have enough information. I've read more books. I've spoken to more people. I've just, yeah. And I think that is, like we're saying, it's an awareness, isn't it? To be able to look at those things and be like, actually, I can see why. The smaller the island, I can imagine the smaller that harder it is, because it's, but I also again bring this back to the power of technology and meeting people where they're at. And none of my family don't live here in Guernsey, and got very used to doing video calls and little. And
it is
messages.
a lifeline, definitely. Like, I feel like I would feel isolated if I was just only dealing with the world here, because I'm absolutely pro failure. Like, as an artist, it's the most important thing. I can get up and do stuff in front of 60,000 people at Boomtown because I have absolutely messed up and embarrassed myself so many times on stage and lived to tell the tale that I know it's fine. But it has been interesting, like, trying to do stuff here with the menopause happening. Like, I've definitely been failing more at things recently, and it's hard doing it in a small island with a small community, because there isn't quite the same forgiving structure that you have in Brighton, where we're all artists and we will understand and we're going to do things and we'll mess up, and sometimes it'll work and sometimes it won't. And I think people probably are forgiving, but also there's probably part of the menopausal side of things, and being a Capricorn, is beating myself up for not being as on it as I have been in the past. And I think it is about us taking things out and doing less, but it's just really tricky, because probably the thing that you'd most like to get rid of in my life, what I'd like to get rid of the most, is the things that make me money. The things that I actually enjoy don't really make money. So I don't really,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a rock and a
And,
hard
and
place.
I heard you before when you said, like, I want to step back from technology. I want to, like, throw my phone in the sea. A normal experience is that they talk about women going offline
Yeah.
is quite literally because we want to come back into solitude. We need to have some space.
Yeah.
However, and I'll put this to you because you do your online moon circles, and you met me where I needed to be met. You met me in my house. And that's what I need right now, be around other people that are going through big life transitions, because it is an experience of the menopause, but it's also big life transitions, moving house,
Yeah.
setting up big events,
Yeah.
all of these things that you're doing right now is pulling a lot of energy. So it's normal to want to be like, okay, cool, can I do that's something that's going to meet you where you're at,
Yeah.
in your beautiful new home, that
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
your sacred space where you don't have to like be like, I always think about this for the gym. I need to do accidental exercise now at this point in my
Yes.
life,
I'm the
because
same. Yeah.
I cannot be like, okay, where's my bag? And I got to get my
No.
thing, and I got to do something else. And I'm like, I've already taught myself out of that, So
Yeah.
it needs to be my yoga mat is upstairs, and do not
Yeah.
engage your brain whatsoever. Just go there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
absolutely. I'm totally with you on that. Yeah, accidental exercise is the only exercise for me. I'm just like walking to places, swimming. They're the things that I need in my life.
yeah,
I can't. Yeah, I mean, we don't have a gym option here, luckily.
yes.
We only have accidental exercise. Excellent. Right, let's do another card. That one. So this one is strife. So that's quite different to failure. Strife is like things feeling stressy, which is what I'm feeling. I feel quite full of strife. I think like the fiery. I mean, we have so many planets in Aries right now, so there's a lot of strife in the world.
I know.
So yeah, I think something around how the world is and our place within it while we're going through what we're going through, and the fire. I feel full of fire. It's definitely a fiery experience going through this. So, yeah, what does that bring up for you?
I feel really passionate and connected to fire. That this element is my eminent Aries. There's something very, obviously, like primal, and to me it's about passion, and we can burn out. I know I burnt out with passion before, because we can burn out with that just as much as we can working for somebody else and following their thing. But there's something around the colour red, which I think some people still have some issues with, connecting back with our blood, saying the word, and being in that fiery red element to burn through some things that just don't need to be there anymore. But it also burns.
Yeah,
It's painful.
yeah.
And acknowledging that heat, and that my friend runs a book club here called Dirty Darlings. We meet once a month and we read lots of very passionate books. my eyes, it's like the fourth month my eyes have been opened. I didn't really know what that was all about, but that's definitely, I think that's another thing that we don't talk about so much, like women's sexuality, women and the fire in our belly to connect. I love the way that you talked about spring when we were over in Sark, and this real lustful like blooming of come get me the vibe, because that is what it is, and reigniting this during this time, and our libido again connected to our hormones, so it can go generally in one of two ways, and it's really on fire, which is also we have to balance with our partners, and the same. A lot of people, you've got so much on your buckaroo. It can be challenging, and being able to connect with other women and read books that I I like a lot of people probably. I fall into a type of genre, and it was quite unexpected, to be honest. I'm a true romantic, and I love the really gentle, soft romantic. That is not the books that we have read.
That's so funny. I love it.
But it's been so fun. So we're not talking about our specific things, unless you want to. We're talking about through the medium of the book, so it's a bit further away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like I think there's 12 people, no, 10 people there last time, and they went round them what they're saying, what they like, what they don't like about the book, and loads of people who like absolutely loved it. And it was so fascinating to hear what the things that they liked. And I was like, oh man, I hated it. And for all of those reasons. But it was really, it's to know these things about ourselves. It's been amazing. And I'm so looking forward to connecting with these amazing women on Thursday, and talking through that, through the medium of books, through the medium of something that we can all connect with in a different way.
Yeah. No, it's great. I love a good book club. And that one, I mean, on this card, it looks like the sign for Mercury with the healing.
Oh, yes.
Completely forgotten in my menopausal brain what the word is for it. Cadiz it's called. And it's the sign for Mercury, and it's to do with healing. And I think that that's part of this thing of like, we go through all these situations like the fire and the passion and whether our libido carries on and all this stuff that's happening. And it is all strife and it feels really fiery, but there's so much healing involved in it as well. Yeah. And conversations, I think, like you were saying, communication is key. Conversations that need to be had that are sort of maybe, you can put off and you keep putting off, but it feels like everything kind of comes to the surface. And there's, with all the stuff going into Aries at the moment, Chiron's joining the mix. Mm-hmm. So our wounded, like our deepest wounds, the things that really trigger us, the things we find the hardest to deal with, are all going to be coming to the fore. And again, it's to heal. It's to look at and heal and face them rather than bury them. It's bringing it all up.
Yeah, you can really see that in the collective as well. What's splashed all over our papers. Just we're in very small communities. And it's interesting, isn't it? We are a mirror. It's happening everywhere because we are all connected. And that is what's coming out now. All these really awful, horrible things that did happen. They did happen. And it's coming up to the surface, like you say, to be healed. Yeah. But all of us are going through this really awful stage at the moment where it's right out in front of you. You cannot ignore it. And that's painful. And it's painful for a lot of people who also didn't choose for it to be up and out there. And there's always more sides to everything, isn't there? But I think that is now about we can kind of counterbalance that by getting together and sending out this love and energy, and doing this just for at home on our own, our morning cacao practice, or when you're doing your yoga or whatever. It is very connecting, isn't it? You're connecting to your body, but then you're also sending that out to the other people and thinking, there's other people. I'm not the only one that's just sitting here and doing this. I'm not on my own. There's amazing Reiki share happening in a couple of weeks here that I was like, oh my God, do I need a sign? Yes. That
looks amazing.
Yeah, we can do this through giving each other. And I also, it doesn't mean it's great if you're Reiki attuned, but it's also we have this in us anyway. To be able to,
I think that was the thing after the pandemic. We all really needed a big Reiki session and a hug and some therapy, and instead we got World War III, and it's just like, right, well done, guys. There will be a reckoning for all of this, and there is so much that's going to be unpicked, and they're fools to think that it's not going to happen. It's like, it's coming. We're not going to let them get away with this.
It is actually already happening. And once that lid is off, that the toothpaste is out, it's not going back.
No, it really isn't. Really isn't. Right then, so strife everywhere, really.
Yes,
there's a lot of strife.
In summary, strife everywhere.
Strife everywhere. It's not just the menopause; it's everything.
Yes.
Right. So You tell me when to stop.
A bit further this time. Yeah, that one.
This one? The end one? Oh,
Yeah.
no, it's not quite the end. It's a bit further in. Oh, we've got a right mix today. It's the devil. So the devil, this is Capricorns. This is the Capricorn card.
Oh.
So this is about, it's kind of about us being a bit deluded about the physical world, but it is also the full mastery of the physical world. So, you know, if you were like Freddie Mercury at the height of his fame, or Elton John, or someone like that, or Donald Trump, where you're, you know, you feel like you've got this mastery over the physical world, but really you've missed the other half. You've missed the spiritual. You've missed, you know, the inner work and the inner care.
Yeah.
So the rails are coming off. Like, yeah, you're having a great time, but actually things are, yeah. And so I think just be interested what that brings up for you generally. But also, I mean, there's quite a lot to talk about with the devil, because the devil also represents, or quite a lot of the attributes that are associated with the devil are also feminine. So not so much with the devil card, but with the devil in general. Like the skull and the horns is the shape of the womb with the fallopian tubes, and then the crested hoof is the moon, and then blood red, the snake tail. So all of these and the cow was sacred to, and it's a goat here, but the whole horned god thing was all part of the goddess, and, you know, sacred to the goddess, and earthy. And so a lot of the attributes that we, like the number 13 being unlucky, is actually the number of periods we have a year.
Yes.
So it's all these things get attributed to being evil and being negative, but also actually is the feminine. So it's kind of that side of things as well. But yeah, what does that card bring up for you? What does that make you think of?
It makes me think of, when I think about some doing a bit of work on the Petit Albert and the Grand Albert at the Prio, and again looking back in our ancestry. And so these books were a little bit of everything, but they were all across the UK. They aren't specific to Guernsey. And it was how we shared information. And a lot of that was around the fear of and accusing of anything that they didn't recognise, or using it to persecute. And I often think about, so Friday was they say that's when all the witches met, and that's where they were going to practice evil. And then the Friday being like, and then as we've moved forward, like Friday being the Venus day and this connection, and then for us, like Friday night is date night, and I'm like, it's all, and I was like, even if we're like, were born like centuries ago, like going out on a Friday night, you're clearly like going to
party.
Party with the devil and all kinds of things. And yeah, it's just, and also quite a lot of perhaps things that I feel like I don't understand because I don't have enough information. A friend of mine moved over from Dubai recently, and I've got I would say I am a white witch. The Carapel family line does have that about it as well. But I only see that as a positive, because I've only ever experienced it or had other people share about it with me in a positive way.
Yeah.
And she was quite horrified, her experience around dark magic in Dubai is a really tangible, really big thing. Mm-hmm. And yeah, moving into, I really enjoy like spaces where things haven't been moved around much, so you can still feel the energy. Mm-hmm. And the Prio Library and Bugor and Harry, this old hardware store here, it's been allowed to be the same and not move so much, so you can still feel what's past. But and there is some like darker things there, but I kind of that.
Yeah. Not scared of it.
But yeah, maybe it's something around. Yeah, there's something around moving closer to the shadows, moving closer to our own shadow work, to the things that we have been avoiding and we don't really like. That I don't like looking at, like parts of myself of my old job is I do being in control. I do, and like acknowledging those bits and then knowing where I am now. Mm-hmm. I don't have to, like, I don't know what is the future, and I'm getting a lot more comfortable with that and not aligning my what I'm physically doing in the world with my personality.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
And it's quite hard because that is
Yeah,
quite a societal thing as well, isn't it? You know,
yeah,
I noticed I became quite lazy in my thinking because I just followed the part. I was like, oh, well, I'm a prison officer, so that's how I feel about drugs, and that's how I feel about this, and that's how I feel about that. And then now I've been like, ooh,
oh.
actually,
It's a bit more complex than that.
I actually do have my own opinion, and it's not of the
Yeah,
party line,
yes,
and that's okay.
and that is okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it is interesting, kind of what's going on in the world as well, because obviously the party line is so all over the place and clearly on the wrong side of the line. You know, it's like,
Yes.
yeah, sorry, you're wrong. So makes it quite tricky. And yeah, I mean, it does feel like the devil's rife at the moment. It feels like the world has got a lot of darkness going on in it. It's interesting because something that's come into my life lately is both here with the house and the land. And then I've had some reaching out to me done as well that has been to do with trying to fight kind of demonic forces. And I've never actually, that's not something as a white witch or as a spiritual person or an energy person, I'd say is probably more.
Yeah, yeah.
I've never gone near anything like that. Like, I'm not interested in it. Even someone came around the other day and was like, oh, I found this in an old house, thought you might want it, and it was a Ouija board. I mean, just like, no, I'm all right.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
and
no, I'm
that's
all right.
really important. Again, it
Yeah,
is feeling that thing of I
yeah,
really just don't
yeah,
want to
yeah.
go there. And guess what? We don't have to go there.
No, we don't have to go
That's
there. No,
fine. Like we
exactly.
don't
Yeah,
need to. It's interesting you were sharing about like the past lives and things because a few
yeah.
things have tapped up about that for me as well. And I was just like, man, I'm just dealing with what's here right now.
One step
I
at a time.
really, yeah, I really not. But I guess that is just acknowledging that. And yes, but how cool is that that we don't have to do
Yeah,
all the
we don't
things
have
and
to do
how
everything.
motivating and how it's quite, I feel that's quite like a confidence building thing is to know our limits, know when that is absolutely
Yeah,
just not for me. And
yeah,
it's, and the same with knowing what heals us and what harms us. And yeah, we have to be really careful because yeah, other people's, like you were saying, like other people's triggers, it's someone else's medicine, and
yeah.
we have to be
We
have to
have to be
be
open to these things.
knowledgeable of
Yeah,
that and of that red rule of if somebody is sharing something that's really helping them, and most of the time that is what I see is people found something that's really helping them and they just want to share it,
yeah,
and that's amazing. It's really good, and moving more towards, especially now, and like you say, the collective energy is dark, the news is dark. We need to shine brighter. We need to, and often that is quite. It can feel quite. I know for me, it's been quite opposing because my natural need is solitude, is to step back. Anyway, I thrive in quieter spaces, but that isn't the real world that I live in. And like you were saying, the medicine is actually to step out and to reconnect with people in real time. And that cannot be the thing that you think that you need. It wasn't the thing that I thought that I needed, but I still. People often say, "Oh, you're so social, Elaine," and I'm like, "I go out on a Thursday. Thursday is my social night, and
and
sometimes
that's
if I
it.
don't have the energy, I don't go." And
Yeah,
most of all of these things are things I love doing, and they're really quiet events at the library.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. You're a
but that,
well-expressed introvert, so I'm a well-expressed
yeah,
introvert as well. So my batteries get recharged by being on my own. Whereas
yes,
Dizzle, who seems a lot shyer than me, he gets recharged from being around people. So he likes to go out and sit in the pub, and he'll just sit and look at his phone. He won't necessarily be talking to people, but he needs to
yeah,
be around people. Whereas I absolutely can't. Like, when I'm done, I'm done. I need to go home and I need to not see anyone for a while. And
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it just
actually,
sort of
I think.
seems.
Yeah, I think maybe it's a similar dynamic. I would say Alpha is more recharging of that inside. And also, so I don't need to talk to people, but I do need to be in physical around them. Silent book club. I call it an introvert's night out. Because it really it is that you're around other like-minded of individuals, so I feel really safe and seen, and my nervous system can relax in that, but I don't necessarily need to talk to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's something really special again about the online sessions where you're sharing about like the moon cycles, and you can, it feels like it gives me space to that I can just step back and be there present, be in Sark when I can't be in Sark.
Yeah. Although Sark is so unrelaxing in many ways. I think it's so relaxing for people to come here. I mean, it is. I'm totally jesting. I mean, it is. It's so relaxing. Whenever I get back here, my nervous system just is able to completely unravel again. Like being in Jersey. I was just in Jersey last week, and it was really good to have the change because it's intense here. It's intense.
Yeah.
But you're not being bombarded by cars and sirens
and also
the numbers of people.
It's very physically, I quite demanding on, because everything is so tangible of, I saw the Sark sauna was coming up, and I was like, I can't wait for that. And then my next thought was like, oh my God, imagine trying to do that in Sark when it's hard enough in Guernsey. And I know from working at the hardware store that you can't just, a lot of the time you can't just get like a couple of the screws that you need and something out. So I did reach out and was like, if you need anything, I'll put it on the boat, because I know what it's like. And I'm like, and often it's not something big that somebody else needs. They do just need another human being, and then someone else's help and support. And that's something that I've really learned through the ongoing wise power of the menopause journey is people love you, people want to help.
Totally.
But I need to speak, I need to say what I need, and I can 100% hear when people say I actually can't help, but I know somebody who can. And they then know that you do need the help, instead of me having the whole conversation in my head and then being like, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. Because I didn't actually ask. When I was doing my treatments and things, I noticed like quite a few people would say, I guess your husband's quite tech, so he's doing all the tech stuff. I never corrected them, but no, he wasn't. I was doing it.
Trying to figure out how to do it.
And because I dealt with people just specifically women going through menopause quite a lot of the time, and obviously having their data and things like that. So I had one point, I had 6-factor authentication on my system, because it's their health data. Again, you have to be really careful with essential oils that how they're interacting with things, and that. So I had to and I had their payment details and all sorts of stuff. So I then had to. So I had to put a code in, then do my face recognition, then something else. And at the time, again, didn't realise I was going through perimenopause myself, but was just like, oh God.
Getting blocked out all the time.
But again, the thought not occurred to me to just be like, mate, in the end, a couple of my clients were just like, can I just have your bank account details? And I just transfer them. I'm like,
it's easier.
It's a whole lot easier. Why did I not just? I just did not do that in the first place. That's just happened
to me as well with stuff that we organised in Sark. It was like, it would have been so much easier if we just did it this way. And it's like, oh God, and just so many things that I hadn't thought about. That was like, but it's juggling all the balls at the same time, and you're trying to do the right thing, and it's just sort of. It's the processes. It's also
our collective inner training is to I know I do this or I used to do this. The woman I am becoming does not do this anymore. But I noticed how I would hurl myself head forward first at the hardest possible thing. Here's my thinking. Because anything after that will be easy. And that's probably how I went to go work in the prison. Because if you can do that, anything else is easy. And you know what? It's true. It works. But it's a very painful way to do it. What I'm enjoying now is you don't have to do the thing. You could just write down the thing. And maybe it's quite often it's for somebody else to do. Alf and I talk a lot about the way the world's changed, and you're like, that would be amazing if somebody else does that. Let's put the energy out that someone else does that, because actually I don't have the skills, the expertise, the time, the energy for that, because I'm doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. I fully agree with that. Yeah, totally.
And
I
kind of
think that's
just
what we need
keep
to do
on
more.
focus.
Write a list for
Yeah.
other people to do. Here's everyone else's
Yes.
to-do list.
Here's the
I've
delegation.
I've got a really good to-do list for other people to do. Excellent. And so, what would you suggest to people for a chaos crusade? Is that something you've had a chance to think about?
Yes, I think go moving back to the dark side, the fire thing, the thing that's really pissing you off. If you can write that down, like even and just like words around it, or and stay with it long enough in yourself, then it's telling you where your biggest passion is, and it's a really good thing. But I think it's been trained out that we should be all sniffing of roses and feminine and sunshine and roses, and I think this is part of the betrayal phase, which is a spiritual process, which is in the book Wise Power.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really recommend reading this, highlighting lots of things. And again, like you reread something and you're like, oh, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
But that is one of the biggest things. The betrayal phase is noticing all the ways in which we've betrayed ourselves. And that's quite an uncomfortable thing to see. But a lot of it, this is where this feeling of anger lies. It lies in the thing that we feel most passionately about. And it's a really good thing. It's where our true calling is. And I think we're all remembering that right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
burning in
definitely.
there, that fire's there, and harnessing it, following it up. Yeah, read on it. Delve back deep into that thing that you feel most passionate about and start moving towards doing small acts, tiny ones, towards something within that's actually actionable in the
Yeah.
real world.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
definitely going to sit and do that. I really like that. Who wrote the book that you just held up? I've actually
So
got
the
it,
book,
but
it's Alexander Pope and Shani Hugo Wurlitzer. Yes. So they are the leaders of the Red School. So they
yes.
also wrote the Cycle one before this.
Oh, yeah. No, I know which one
How
you mean.
ironic that I can't remember the name of it. Wild Power. There we go. I knew it was
Wild
in there.
Power. Yes, that's right.
Wild
Yeah.
Power is the first one, and this one is specific for menopause. And to me, this is my experience in words of what the joy of the spiritual aspects of it, and the ugliness and all of the messy stuff. And this is about awakening our authority and leading, and being the leaders that we were put here to be, and really,
Yeah.
really stepping into that confidence, knowing that you are surrounded by loads and loads of other people who are out there and are holding your hand all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, because we're going into our Wisewoman phase, which
Yes,
is
yes.
baby crones. I love that saying as well. We're baby crones. I think
I
it's
love it.
wonderful. Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Elaine, for that. That was wonderful. Really useful. And I'll take a photo of the cards and send them to you so you can have a little look at them.
Awesome. Thank you.
But yeah,
I
thank you
love
ever so
that.
much.
Thank you
Yay.
for having me on. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing how things unfold to you and this new beginning in your new house and everything. That's really cool.
That was the wonderful Elaine. I absolutely adored that conversation. What a sweetheart. She's such a lovely, generous being. She's got such a generous soul. And it's been really interesting getting to know more Aries people, especially with everything that's going on with the planets and everything being in Aries at the moment. There's a real Aries people are so full of life and vivacious, but there's also a vulnerability and an innocence there, which, they are the beginning of the zodiac, and they're almost like the babies in a way, but it's this fiery coming forth, and yeah, it's like, here I am, and I'm going to do the thing, and I'm very passionate and driven, and yet there is also this kind of innocence as well, and just openness, which I really love. And it's just interesting because when I lived in Brighton, my world seemed to be of people from Scorpio through to Pisces. And so I thought that most people were born in the winter. And it was only since I've moved here that suddenly my year has completely shifted. And now most of the people I know are Pisces through to Scorpio. So like everyone's like Leo and Librans and Taurians, and it's just so weird. Like I've just sort of flipped my zodiac wheel to the other side of the year, and I'm sort of just starting to get to know the signs. So it was interesting when Elaine said that she was an Aries. I was like, oh, I can see that. Yeah, I can see. Okay, that sort of, yeah, it's all adding into the filing system I've got for Aries. Of like, oh, right, yeah. And it's the passion, you know, she's so passionate and just, yeah, has a very passionate approach to life, which I really love. You know, it's fascinating that she was working in the prison. She was a prison officer because she's so sweet and lovely. That's really like, oh, but also what a great prison officer you would be. Like how amazing, how lucky they were. So I love that. And I feel relieved and seen having had that conversation. And I hope that any of you going through the menopause yourself will feel the same. And definitely I'll put the title of the book and in the show notes. And yeah, just we're all in this together. Whatever your life experience is, whatever's going on, we're in this together. And we aren't, I like what Elaine was saying, that we're not meant to do everything ourselves. It is about us supporting each other and helping each other. So let's do that. Let's support and help each other as best we can. And yeah, I feel like a weight has been taken off my shoulders a bit today. That feels good. I needed that. So thanks, Elaine. Thank you all listeners for being here. And I hope you have a lovely week. Write down the things that are burning in you, that are your passion, and have a little explore of that. I'm definitely going to go away and do that. The Chaos Crusade for this week is a good one. I like that. So enjoy, and I shall see you again next week. See you, Anon.